following stories were sent in by real people. They swear every word of them is true. Watch until the very end, if you dare. A couple of years ago, I babysat regularly for a family down the street. 2 little kids, a sweet baby girl, and a big empty house. The parents often stayed out late, so I got used to being alone there after dark. That night, once the kids were asleep, I sat downstairs watching the baby monitor. It had a little screen. I could see the crib, the baby breathing softly, everything calm. So I let myself relax. Around 11, the mother called me. Her voice was strange, too controlled. She asked very slowly if everything was okay upstairs. I said yes, the kids were fine, the baby was asleep. She was quiet for a second, then she said, "I want you to go upstairs. Get all 3 children and take them to the neighbor's house. Right now. Do not hang up. Do not make a sound. Just go." I asked her what was wrong, and she started to cry. She told me that for the last 10 minutes, she had been watching the second camera feed on her phone, the one in the baby's room, and there was a man standing over the crib in the dark, just watching the baby sleep. I have never moved so fast in my life. I ran upstairs, grabbed the 2 older kids by the hand, scooped up the baby, and I did not look at the crib. I did not look anywhere but the stairs. We were out the front door in under a minute. The police were already on their way. The mother had called them the second she saw him. When they searched the house, they found the attic hatch open and the screen off a back window. He had been hiding up there since the afternoon, waiting for the parents to leave, waiting for the house to go quiet. The detective told me something I will never forget. He said the man had not come for the silverware or the television. He had come with a duffel bag, and in that bag was tape and rope and a child's blanket. If the mother had glanced at her phone even 10 minutes later, all 3 of those children and I would have simply vanished. I still babysit for that family, but now, the very first thing I do, every single time, is check the attic. I hike alone a lot. It clears my head. That autumn, I went deep into a national forest, miles from any trailhead, and set up my tent for the night. No signal, no other campers, just me and the trees. I fell asleep easily, but sometime after 2 in the morning, I woke up, not to a sound, to a feeling, that deep animal certainty that you are not alone anymore. And then I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate steps, circling my tent in the dark. I told myself it was a deer or a bear, but it did not move like an animal. It walked upright, 2 feet, slow and patient, and every so often it would stop right beside the thin nylon wall, inches from my face, and I could hear it breathing. I lay there frozen, clutching my knife, not making a sound, and then a voice, low and rough, spoke from right outside the fabric. It said, my name, my full name, a name I had told no one on that trip. And then it asked, softly, "Are you awake?" I did not answer. I did not breathe. I gripped that knife and I stared at the dark shape against the wall until, somewhere near dawn, it finally walked away into the trees. I waited another 2 hours before I dared to unzip the tent. When I finally crawled out, I found footprints, bare human footprints, pressed into the mud in a complete circle around my tent. Dozens of them. He had walked around me, over and over, all night long. On the drive home, I stopped at a ranger station and reported it. The old ranger went very quiet. He told me a man had been living wild in that forest for years. He knew the trails better than anyone. He watched the solo hikers, learned their names off their permits at the trailhead box, and waited for the ones who camped alone. 3 hikers had gone missing on that ridge. They were never found. The ranger looked at me and said I was the first one to come back. I have never hiked alone again. I worked the graveyard shift as a security guard in a huge empty office building downtown. My whole job was to sit in a small room and watch a wall of camera monitors, floor by floor, all night long. 40 floors, all empty, all mine. Most nights, nothing moved on those screens for hours, so you learn every camera, every hallway, every flickering light, every angle. You know exactly how the building is supposed to look when it is empty. And that night, something on the screens was wrong. On the 12th floor camera, a man was standing at the end of a hallway, just standing, facing the wall, perfectly still. I figured it was a janitor or someone who had stayed late. But it was 3 in the morning, and I had watched every soul sign out hours ago. I picked up the radio to call it in, and the instant I keyed the mic, the man on the 12th floor turned, slowly, away from the wall, and he looked directly up into the camera, straight at the lens, as if he could see me through the screen, watching him. Then he raised one hand and pointed, not at the camera, past it, and on the very next monitor, the camera for my floor, for the hallway right outside my little room. I watched my own door slowly open, and there was no one there to open it. I ran. I did not stop until I was outside on the street, screaming for the police. When they searched the building, they found no one, but they found the 12th floor stairwell door propped open with a brick, and on that floor, in a supply closet, a filthy sleeping bag, empty food cans, and a printed photograph of me at my own desk, taken from behind. He had been living in that tower for weeks, watching me watch the cameras, learning exactly when I looked away. I never worked another night shift, and to this day, I cannot sit with my back to a door. I live by myself in a small apartment. One night, well past 2 in the morning, my phone woke me up. It was ringing on the nightstand. Half asleep, I grabbed it and looked at the screen, and I froze because the number calling me was my own. My exact number, calling itself. I know that can be spoofed, so I almost let it go. But something made me answer. I said hello. And for a long moment, there was nothing, just soft, steady breathing. And then a whisper, my own voice, whispering back to me, "Get out of the apartment." I told myself it was a prank, some recording, a stranger playing a game. I asked who it was, and the whisper, still in my own voice, said very slowly, "He is standing behind you." And in the dead silence of my bedroom, I heard something I will never forget. From the corner of the room, behind me, a second breath. I did not turn around. I threw off the blanket. I ran through my own apartment in the dark, and I did not stop until I was pounding on my neighbor's door across the hall. We called the police from her living room. My hands would not stop shaking. The police found a man crouched inside my bedroom closet. He had broken in hours earlier while I was at work and simply waited in there until I fell asleep. He had my old phone, the one I had lost weeks before and never found. He had been in my apartment before. And when they asked him why he called me first, why he warned me, he only smiled and said he'd like to watch them run. I moved out the next morning. I never sleep with my closet door open, and I have never, ever answered a call from my own number again. One night, after leaving a friend's party, I ordered a rideshare home. I was tired, a little cold, standing alone on an empty street. When the app said my driver was arriving, a dark sedan pulled up, and right away, something felt off. The license plate did not match the one on my screen, and the man behind the wheel did not look like the photo of my driver. He leaned over, opened the door, and said my name with a wide, friendly smile. "Come on in," he said. "Long night, right? I ordered you already." Everything in me screamed not to get in that car. So I smiled back and I said, "Sorry, I think I ordered the wrong ride. Let me just double check." I stepped back onto the curb and I pulled up my app. And that is when my real driver called me. He was 2 streets away, confused, asking where I was standing. The second I lifted the phone to my ear and started talking, the man's friendly smile dropped completely. He did not say another word. He yanked the door shut, and he sped off into the dark so fast the tires screamed. My real driver pulled up 30 seconds later and found me shaking on the sidewalk. I reported the plate to the police that same night. It came back stolen, off a car, in another city. They told me a man had been trailing rideshare pickups in that area for a month, listening for names, pulling up first to beat the real driver. 2 women had gotten into his car before me. One was found days later. The other never was. The only reason I am here is that I trusted that cold little voice, and I checked one small detail before I opened that door. Now I check the plate, the photo, and the name every single time. And if anything at all, feels wrong, I walk away. 5 stories, 5 people who listen to that quiet voice inside them, the one that whispers, "Something is wrong, not tonight." Every one of them lived because they did not ignore it. So the next time you feel it, don't ignore it either. It may be the only thing standing between you and the dark. This channel is where the darkness lives. Every week, new true stories. The knock you should never answer. The voice that is not who it claims to be. The stranger already inside your home. If tonight's stories found you in the dark, the next ones will find you too. So subscribe, turn off the lights, and we will be here waiting when the sun goes down.